everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another incredible podcast and live broadcast with me, Athena Moberg, and my partner, Bobby Parrish. We are your trauma recovery coaches, and tonight's topic is quite the big one, and it is called imposter syndrome. So as always, we just wanted to welcome you. And especially we want to give a special shout out to our UK viewers and listeners. It's like 2 in the morning. You guys are amazing. And for all of our iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, anyone tuning in virtually that cannot see us, we will be talking with our hands, and you can always find our videos on our YouTube channel. And as of January 1st, you will, again, like we've been saying, be able to see us on Roku devices. And we have some very special branding announcements. We have a very special giveaway contest that we are holding. And we just have so many awesome things to tell you about tonight. And we also have a load of incredible content on imposter syndrome. So without further ado, I think I remembered everything. I'm going to turn it over to my amazing partner, Bobby. Take it away, Bobby.
Thank you. Do you want me to talk a little bit about the giveaway, or should we go right into content and hit all that stuff at the end?
Ooh, this is like the drum roll. I think that everyone would probably love to hear about the giveaway, since it involves one-on-one, face-to-face, massive 8 hours of what it is that we do here on this broadcast, and I just feel like maybe you should tell them about that because it's just so exciting.
Absolutely. And this has to do with the rebranding that we're doing. We're moving into shifting ourselves to call ourselves Trauma Recovery University, because we've realized through your feedback that one of the most important things you need is education about trauma and trauma recovery, and you need to know you're not alone. So you need to know that some things that everyone struggles with, how they struggle with it, and how you can learn how to deal with things in your recovery yourself. So in honor of that, we are doing a giveaway, and there are 2 prize packages. The first, which is incredible, is 8 hours of face-to-face coaching with Athena. You choose the metropolitan city of your choice, and she will fly there, meet you, and meet with you over the course of 2 days for 8 hours of intensive coaching. And I can tell you without a doubt that will be life-changing, absolutely life-changing. And the other prize is 8 hours of Skype coaching with me. And you can do that an hour a week. You can do it 2 hours a week. You can do it 2 hours on a Saturday, 2 hours on a Sunday, and 2 hours the next Saturday and Sunday. However you want to schedule it, you can do it. We can set it up. In order to enter the giveaway, you need to go to my website. Do you have it up on yours yet, Athena?
You know what? I have been working so much on our rebranding and building the amazing place that will be called Trauma Recovery University.
Yes.
That the quick answer is no. I don't have it up on my website yet, but I do want to get it up on my website so that y'all can go there too.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But for now, it's up on my website. So go to www.bobbyparrish.com, and one of the tabs, a really long tab up on the top, says Trauma Recovery University Coaching Package Giveaway. And just hit that tab, and it will tell you all about the giveaway. There will be 2 prize winners selected. The first will have their choice of whether they would like to meet one-on-one, face-to-face with Athena, or they would like to do Skype coaching with me. And the second person selected will get the remaining package. In order to enter, you have to sign up with your email and your name.
And there is an intake form. We got to tell them about the intake form, Bobby, because we are not going to invest 8 hours of our lives with you beautifuls unless you choose to spend an hour or 2 filling out this very extensive intake form. So this is a commitment. This isn't just a little, oh, slap my email address on there, blah, blah. Like, you're gonna end up having to apply. I mean, you could apply with just your email address, but in order for it to be considered for the 8 hours of coaching, we have to get to know you a little bit on the intake form. So it's might turn some people away there, Bobby. What do you think?
Well, we want to know that they're committed because, my time in this package is over $2,000 worth of time. Your package is more than $5,000 worth of time because you are flying from Maui to the mainland to meet with them. You have hotel stays. I mean, that's a significant commitment, and we want to make sure that the people that we're going to work with are ready to do that work. So if you put in your email address, then wait, you have to get the email back that says confirm you want to subscribe to the list. You must select confirm, and then our MailChimp system will send you the application. If you don't confirm the subscription, then we don't send you the application and you're not entered. So put in your email address on that form on my website, Trauma Recovery Coaching page, packet page. It'll take you there. Put in your email address. It walks you through it all, explains it, and then confirm your subscription and then fill out the application. So
yes,
that's the process.
If you are watching this on a different day, let's say you are not watching live. I know we happen to have some people watching live right now. So for you people watching live, I can see that you're there, and I want to welcome you. And for those of you who are listening on a delayed, whether it's an audio podcast or it's a video or what have you, and let's say you get this message too late, and you're like, oh my gosh, I missed a chance to subscribe and fill out an application, and I missed the opportunity for Athena or Bobby to be coaching me, or for Athena to fly here, or for me to be able to meet with Bobby on Skype. And we just don't want you to worry, because guess what? This isn't the only time we're ever going to do this. Come on.
That's right.
This is what we love. We love doing this. This is like you guys are the whole reason we're here. So don't worry if you miss this one opportunity. We have 2 live events coming up in June, one in the beginning of June, one at the end of June. One of them's a conference, super exciting conference. The other one is a retreat, very awesome, intimate retreat. So there are many opportunities to get together with us, especially moving into the 2015 year. And if you're already listening to this in 2015, then we just can't wait to meet you. So, yeah, that'd be super exciting, Bobby.
It is. And really quick, the deadline to submit, I forgot to tell you that, is midnight, December 31st. And we're going to announce the winners on the 5th of January. We want everyone to get the chance to start the new year. The year 2015 is going to be very powerful. So we're going to launch Trauma Recovery University. You're going to have access to courses, videos, handouts, ebooks, everything that you might need, coaching packages, everything you're going to need in order to...
The resource guides. Remember the resource guides that we're publishing.
Yes. Just so much information for you, because Athena and I know what it's like to try and go through recovery without support. It's hard. Furthermore, we know what it's like to go through recovery and not have education. I think both of us have talked about how many years we went through recovery and we didn't get the information we needed in order to make good choices, wise choices. That's why we're here. We're giving you all the possible information you need to make good and wise, healthy choices in your recovery. So, yay!
I'm very excited.
I'm excited too.
We have a full bevy of incredible stuff tonight, though. Our one page is power-packed tonight, and I gotta mention that it was quite the lively chat last night, Bobby. I know imposter syndrome is not something that plagues only survivors of abuse. It plagues everyone in the whole entire planet. So that whole 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men, the stats just went up. It's 4 in 4 and 6 in 6. It's 100% of people in the whole wide world struggle with imposter syndrome at one point or another. But it definitely affects us, the adult survivors of childhood trauma, way more than the average everyday person that grew up in Mayberry or in Leave It to Beaver.
Yes. What, there were like 5 people growing up in Leave It to Beaver?
I don't know. I've met a lot of people that claim that their childhood was exactly like Leave It to Beaver. So
really? Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's talk about this. And like many things in trauma recovery, and you're going to hear Athena and I say this over and over again, many things in trauma and trauma recovery are cyclical. cyclical, 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 cyclical. And
It's a vicious
imposters,
cycle.
it is. And imposter syndrome is one of those that is definitely cyclical. It's a vicious cycle, and we want to catch it as early as we can, and we want to deal with it as early as we can. So let's go ahead and start looking at this one page that Athena made. That's so super beautiful.
Hey, Bobby, while you bring up that one page, can I do a little, I want to start prepping people. So,
Absolutely.
hey guys, January 1st, we have another announcement that's going to be happening for January 1st, and we're going to talk about this again throughout the evening on the broadcast, but I definitely wanted to mention it again for you guys. So, check it out. Starting January 1st, you are going to be watching our live Google Hangouts on air, our webcasts, probably on Mondays if you decide to tune in live. We are switching from a Wednesday broadcast to a Monday broadcast. So if you've been following along, which I'm sure you have, we have a Twitter chat for childhood survivors of sexual abuse, adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse for the UK. And that time we will have up here in the show notes, and I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken, 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
And then in the UK, we have a lot of UK people, and the hashtag for that is hashtag CSAQT. And it is just such an excellent place to go if you have questions about childhood sexual abuse. So that's Monday, right?
Right.
And then Monday nights, we're going to have our live Google Hangouts on air, our webcast for Trauma Recovery University, which is exactly what you've been doing and participating in here on Wednesdays. And then the following day, on Tuesdays, we have the United States version, the original, the OG sex abuse chat that was started by Rachel Thompson and Bobby Parrish. And that's how most of us came to know one another. So you have a power-packed boom, boom Monday, Tuesday, and then Bobby and I will be dedicating Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to creating resource guides, videos, courses. We're planning conferences, retreats, and we have to consolidate our live work with you so that we can make more time for one-on-one clients, coaching, and everything else that we're offering for you. So I just wanted to give you a little tip that Trauma Recovery University, aka No More Shame Project, is moving to Monday nights.
Right. And our first Monday night, I believe, is the last Monday in December.
Ooh, I think you're right. I think you're right.
It's like December 29th.
And we got some holiday stuff coming up. We're going to be equipping you for the holidays, and we're going to get real. And we're so excited. So.
Yes, December 29th. That's going to be that'll be the first Monday.
Yep.
Yay! We'll let you know. We'll remind you, though. We'll remind you.
Yeah.
So let's look at survivors and imposter syndrome. And this is one that can be sometimes kind of hard to hear, hard to listen to, hard to face. So practice some good self-care. If you need to take a break away from the webcast, take a break from watching the video or from the podcast if you need to, and give yourself some time to just kind of gather your thoughts.
And breathe. Breathe deeply.
Breathe, yes, breathe. And you know why? Does everyone know why we tell you to breathe? I'll tell you why. I didn't know this. I just heard all through my life people tell me to breathe, and I never knew why. Because when you start to get anxious and you feel afraid, one of the things that your body does is it automatically, and this is from the adrenaline that kicks in from the fear and anxiety, it makes you breathe more shallow and less deep. Because what it's trying to do is conserve oxygen for when you need to run for your life. And I know that's a little dramatic, but honestly, that is what your body's doing. So when you get upset and when someone tells you to breathe, they mean take deep, slow breaths. And that will tell your body system, oh, okay, I don't need to be ready to go for flight. I don't need to be ready to fight. I can calm down. So that's why people tell you when you start to get upset and when you start to get anxious to breathe, because it sends your body the opposite message that it's trying to send you. I never knew that. I didn't know that for the longest time. Okay.
I thought people were just telling me to breathe because I forget to breathe. Sometimes I find that I'm holding my breath. I didn't know that there was a physiological and
There
scientific
is.
answer behind
Yes.
it. And I love it when we come up with those brainiac answers. It makes
I
me feel so
know.
smart. Oh, I know what else I was going to mention super fast as we dive
Yep.
right in here to all of
Go
our
for it.
incredible content. I wanted to let you guys know that starting immediately, probably, starting with next week's broadcast, we're going to be reminding you, and we're going to be tweeting out every single day a series of tweets, and we're going to be reminding you to send us your questions about childhood sexual abuse. Anything you want us to address on our live broadcast, we are going to be asking you to send those to us, and all you got to do is put in one of our Twitter handles and make sure you include the hashtag #NoMoreShame. And if you're on our website here, which is the bit.ly link /NMS project, and you're watching us live right now, or you're just finding us now, on the bottom there's a little Twitter feed, and that's the Twitter feed for hashtag #NoMoreShame. And you can always tweet out your questions using the hashtag of #NoMoreShame, and we'll answer them every single week in the live broadcast. I think that's my last announcement, Bobby.
And you know what? If you have more, that's okay. That's okay. You're welcome. Okay, what is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is the personal belief. It's a belief that we hold that we cannot possibly be good or do good. So anything that ends up, looking like we did something good, we chalk it up to, oh, circumstances just came together. Oh, I was just lucky. Oh, well, it was just a one-time thing. I'm never going to be able to do that again. When people compliment us about things, it's like, oh, well, that's something, it's so simple, it's so easy, anybody could have done it. We don't allow ourselves to believe that we are good people who are capable of doing good things. And then, unfortunately, the shoe is on the other foot when someone tells us that we didn't do a good job. We take that as proof that we are not a good person. So it's interesting, there's two things. When someone tells us we did good, we don't believe that. But when they tell us we did badly, we really believe that. And mixed into all of this is the fear that we're going to be found out to be the fraud that we think we are. We're afraid. We live in fear, like we don't have enough fears already, right? We live in fear that we are going to be discovered. And, when I talk about this, I get an image in my mind of a child wearing, a big bulky coat, and they have stuffed in all their pockets all these little tiny treasures and trinkets. And they're afraid that someone is going to get a hold of them, and all this stuff is going to spill out on the ground, and everyone's going to know and see and be able to take all of their treasures. And it's going to be humiliating, and it's going to be embarrassing, and it's going to be frightening, and they live in fear of that moment. And that's what we live in fear of. We are going to be found out. And like we talked about, this isn't something that is just to do with survivors. A lot of people deal with this in one form or another, to one degree or another, at different points in their lifetime. And when you read literature about this, more often than not, you hear business people, executives, talking about this. Especially women executives, as they climb the ladder, they think, oh, no one's ever going to take me seriously. No one is ever going to really give me credit for what I do. I can't even give myself credit for what I do. I don't think I can really take this job. I don't think I could do it right. And so it's that fear that people aren't going to be able to see us as doing any good, and certainly we're never going to be able to see ourselves as doing any good.
Yeah.
But that's the reason this is particularly why survivors are particularly susceptible to this, and why it hits us harder than it does other people, is because when we were children, we were given the consistent message that we aren't good enough. We are bad. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We do bad things. We're never going to amount to anything. So we already have that programmed into our head. And for those who were abused. You okay? You okay?
Oh yeah, I just had to sneeze.
For, for those who were abused over a long period of time, especially between ages about 4 and 8, that is a crucial developmental period for children. That's when their personality forms. It's when a lot of their worldview forms. If you were abused consistently through those 4, 5, 6 years, the chances are high that your lack of self-worth, your fear that you are no good, is hardwired into your brain and into your personality. And
Why is that, Bobby? Can we go into a little bit deeper as to why that is? I would love just to expound upon that. I mean, I know the answer, but I would really love for our survivor,
absolutely,
our survivor peeps to know, because it's just so. I feel like this type of knowledge and this type of information that we're about to give people is almost like just this one little piece is transformational, and they will never be the same once they know this.
You bet.
And that developmental time.
Yes, and this ties in a tiny bit back to a couple of weeks ago. We talked about executive functioning. So if you're listening to us now, on YouTube is the video that talks about executive functioning. Go back and watch that. If you're listening to the podcast, and you know, this was even tomorrow you start listening to it, it's back there. It's a couple weeks back. Go back and listen to that one too, because it has a little bit to do with brain development and function. But those years between 4 and 8 years old are critical years for brain development. They are also critical years for personality development. In the medical world, the psychological world, the psychiatric world truly believes that your personality is pretty much set by the time you're 6. So if during that period of time, I mean, any time, of course, that it happens before that is terrible as well, but during those crucial years of 4 or 8, when your personality is developing, when your brain is literally exploding with growth, if you are abused consistently over that period of time, the abuse becomes part of, it colors your world, I guess is the best way that you can put it. Everything that you look at, you see through the lens of your abuse. If one of the messages you got from your abuse is that you are no good, that thought that you are no good is actually programmed into your brain. And everything, every person you encounter, every circumstance you encounter, every decision that you make is colored with that belief that you are no good. And that's why, you know, how many times, Athena, we have heard, why can't you just get over it? I mean, that happened 30 years ago. What's the matter with you? Well, you know what? That's one of the big reasons why.
Well, yeah, or we hear things like, you know, you say that you're a woman of faith, and if you just had bigger faith, maybe you wouldn't struggle with this so much. Or you must have let some sort of secret sin sort of seep into your life to where that's why you're struggling. And I'm just going to call bunk on all that right now, because a lot of times if you're struggling with a mental disability, or especially like post-traumatic stress disorder, or if you have executive functioning issues, you know, you can really remain motivated and positive and make choices on a moment-to-moment basis that will help you, and that will help you lead a victorious life that is very, very successful. But that is not for free. That costs you all of your emotional energy. And sometimes if you're not sleeping well because of any type of PTSD or other issue for whatever reason, whether you have children and you wake up a lot, or you have a dog barking outside, or there's alarms going off, or you just can't sleep for some reason, you had too much caffeine. If you're already low on energy, and then on top of that was disturbed when you were from the ages 4 to 8 because of the toxic soup that your prefrontal lobe was sort of like resting in, and all the damage that was done. And then on top of that, you have PTSD because of some ongoing abuse, and people were sexually violating you from the time you were 3 years old all the way until you were 12 or whatever, from the ages 4 to 8. And you have all those things working against you, and you're literally, your core beliefs about yourself. Yes, you can choose moment to moment to moment to moment to talk about the truth and to remember the truth about yourself. But that is extremely exhausting, and sometimes your 100% and your best looks different on one day than your 100% and your best looked on a different day. So we're just really wanting you to recognize that you might have a tougher road to haul, and it's not impossible. It's just a little bit more difficult, and we know that you can do it, especially if you have the proper support and the proper education, and that's why we're here.
Yep, exactly. One thing about our brain that is incredible is it is very plastic. We can retrain our thought processes, but yes, it does take more time. And that's why it's so important that you give yourself grace and that you have a safe support system that understand what you're going through, and they support you, they're safe, and they give you a lot of grace too. Because you have a lot to work on, a lot to heal, and there are so many reasons why you can't just snap your fingers and get over it.
Yeah.
So this is one, this imposter syndrome, and it's, many of us who are survivors also deal with that drive for perfectionism. And the reason that we do that is because we grew up feeling like we weren't worthy. No one was proud of us. No one ever approved of anything we did. No one ever said, hey, Bobby, that's great. You're going to be a smart woman someday. And, you know, I didn't hear that. I didn't grow up with the belief. Yeah, I didn't grow up with the belief that I was going to be wonderful.
Well, I got that occasionally. Like, I would hear someone say, oh, I'm so proud of you, or good job, but it was kind of drowned out by all of the other negative stuff and the toxic stuff that
Yeah.
I didn't really believe it, because I had more, my bad pile was higher than my good pile, if that makes any sense. I know that's a very kindergarten rudimentary term, but that's just what I'm choosing to use right now.
And to me, it's a lot like if I said to you, Athena, you're so wonderful, whack. I think you're just great and I love you to death, whack. You know, when you're sending those kinds of mixed messages, oh, I love you, but at the same time, you're beating and abusing your child, I'm pretty sure they're going to choose not to believe your words. They're going to believe your actions. So
correct. And that happens a lot to a lot of survivors.
Yes. So, yeah, I hear you, Dad, when you say that you love me, but then when you come into my room in the middle of the night and you rape me, I am confused. And chances are I believe that I either grow up with very contorted views of what love is, or I don't believe that I'm loved or I'm capable of being loved.
Correct.
So the way that we compensate for that as survivors is we try to be perfect. Perfect at everything we can so that we will earn approval. And the things that we don't think we can be perfect at, we avoid, or we try to be invisible, because we certainly don't want to do anything that we can't do perfectly. So there's that drive for perfectionism, and then here comes the imposter syndrome that says, oh, you're kidding. You are so far from perfect, it's laughable. You're never going to be perfect. And any day now, everyone is going to discover how damaged you really are. And you are going to be humiliated.
Yeah, and they are going to not only discover how damaged you are, but they're going to know everything. They're going to know what your dad does to you in the middle of the night. They're going to know what happened the other day when your parents weren't home and you were bullied by your family members who invited boys over to hold you down and rape you. And, you know, like, all of a sudden those lies in your head, those greatest, deepest fears, when you have imposter syndrome, those things become very real, and they're very front and center stage, and to the point where you can't even, like, you're literally, like, you can't even see anything else because you're just so completely flooded. You're completely flooded, like Gottman. Gottman always says flooded. So you're completely flooded with these negative messages that are complete and total lies, but that's what you believe at the moment. Those are your fears all come rushing to the front. And that's what it's about.
Right. And all of a sudden, all these tall trees grow up right in front of you, and you can't see the truth anymore. Because here's all these huge tall trees of unworthiness and no self-esteem and you're going to fail and this, and this. And all of a sudden, here we are standing in the middle of the forest of all ourselves again, thinking we're never going to get our way out of here. And so what do? We feel badly. And our mood drops lower and our self-esteem drops lower. We try to be perfect, we can't be perfect. We feel more terrible. We try to be perfect, we can't be perfect. We feel more terrible, and there's the cycle. There's the nasty, awful imposter cycle that gets more and more vicious and deeper and deeper and deeper as time goes on and as we let it eat away at what self-esteem we might have left after what we've gone through. Let's look back. I think I have to press one more button here.
It makes a little dink sound. Yes.
Does it?
Yes, right there.
Okay. And that last paragraph there that just gives information is that not only does imposter syndrome do damage to us, but it undermines our recovery. Again, because it undermines our self-worth. And anything that undermines our self-worth undermines our recovery. So let's look at some tips and strategies for dismantling imposter syndrome.
Yes,
I love this word.
This is my favorite part.
Yes, I love this word dismantling because it is essentially a belief system that needs to be taken apart. Can you crush it with one blow and just knock it away?
No.
I wish. But
it's not a one and done.
No, it's not a one and done. It is a process of dismantling. You'll take parts away one by one, and by the time you're done, there might be one or two pieces left, but they don't have any strength and they don't have any value. But it is not a one and done. So if you struggle with it for a long time and you work really hard and it's still not gone, be gentle with yourself. Give yourself grace. This is not something that was built overnight. It is not something that is going to be taken down overnight. So this very first tip is by far the most important one that I want you to remember. That imposter syndrome is a symptom of one of the core issues that all survivors of abuse have. The three core issues that we all struggle with are self-worth, shame, and guilt. If you go back and you talk to any survivor that you know, if you go through the literature, that I don't have any worth, I don't have any value, I'm bad, I'm to blame, I caused this because I'm bad, I am ashamed because of the things I allowed to happen, the things that I caused to happen, things that were done to me. Those are the three core issues that you need to tackle in your recovery. And imposter syndrome is a symptom of those core issues.
Yeah.
So don't tackle the syndrome, tackle the cause. And it's the same thing that, as we go through here, as we move into the new year and we talk about other issues that you might struggle with, if it ties back to one of these root problems, we're going to tell you time and time again, tackle the core. Tackle the core issues. Because when you tackle those core issues, it's like a tree. If you remove the root system, everything else is just going to fall by the wayside. It's just going to collapse and die.
Yeah.
So if you tackle the root,
it's like trying to cut down a tree by cutting off all of its branches. It doesn't make the tree fall down.
No, it doesn't. And in fact, probably the tree is just it's gonna be hurt for a while, but it will eventually grow some new limbs. So
yeah.
you gotta get to those roots. You just do.
That reminds me of when I met with that prospective client which by the way, I need to follow up with them again, but I met with that prospective client that was struggling with a pornography addiction because of the sexual abuse that had happened during the time, I think it was at age 7. And rather than choosing to really do the hard work and do the 5 hours of intensive work together and then some follow-up sessions, they're actually choosing to go to counseling, to a person that specializes in pornography addiction counseling. And again, like, this is something that Bobby and I always drive home to you guys. If you're driving along and you're listening to this and you can't see me talking with my hands, I'm sure you can picture, like, the core issue of what's going on there is the sexual assault and the sexual violation and the exploitation and the trust that was stolen and the innocence that was stolen at age 7. That is the core, and it manifested itself and grew over time in shame and disgust and embarrassment and humiliation and perfectionism and all that, which then morphed into and grew into an addiction to pornography. So when this person is choosing to treat the symptom, it would be like me choosing to treat the symptom of something on the outside of something that really was something that was on the inside that was wrong with me. If I had some sort of an autoimmune deficiency or something, and it was manifesting itself in like having like scratches or you know, something wrong with my skin, I would still have something wrong on the inside, even if I was treating what was going on the outside. So
Right.
we always try to really, 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 really encourage you to work on the core issue and not treat just the symptoms. Don't treat just the obsessive compulsiveness. Don't treat just the times that you're choosing to overeat as a coping strategy. You okay?
Yes.
Don't treat just the coping strategies that you have where you're overspending or you're playing video games or you're drinking too much alcohol or you're choosing to use prescription drugs or recreational drugs. That's great if you go to a program and you want to deal with that kind of stuff. But if you are an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse, I am here to tell you, and Bobby will ring true and give me a big fat amen, hallelujah probably. We are here to tell you that you can treat your symptoms forever and ever and ever and feel better, and it might just be fine and go away. But it is going to take you exponentially longer if you go that route than if you choose to work with someone who specializes in trauma, specifically trauma for adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse, because when you deal with those core issues, the symptoms dissipate and go away.
Right. Or they're infinitely easier to stop.
Just like that. Just like that.
You know, when we have someone who comes to us who's actively involved in an alcohol addiction, when we can go, you know, we do encourage them, please don't drink while you're in treatment, but it is so much easier when they start tackling those painful issues, then drinking just doesn't become as necessary, because the reason they're drinking is to numb the pain. Numb the pain. That's the reason that people drink, you know, childhood sexual abuse. That's why they drink. That's why they do drugs. And oftentimes, unfortunately, that addiction gene is handed down from a parent that was dysfunctional. So, you know, you have to keep that in mind, and you still have to deal with that addiction. But when you solve that underlying cause, it is so much easier to deal with the addiction. And it's so much easier to deal with the imposter syndrome if we deal with the self-worth and where you learned it and how you learned it and how in the world can we change it. So your self-worth is high instead of low.
Yeah, and oftentimes we're drinking or using drugs or spending or looking at pornography or being involved in illicit behaviors because what it is that we are, it's just a replacement. It's a replacement for something. Not only are we using it to numb, but we're using it to replace something. And what it is that we are starving for and that we are replacing is we are starving for community and authentic relationship. And the only way to have community and authentic relationship is to be real about your issues and deal with those core issues and be in a safe place where you can deal with those core issues, and that's what Bobby and I specialize in. So we're going to move back to our content on our one page, and we're going to go down to the bottom where we're talking about tips and strategies of dismantling imposter syndrome, and I believe we are on strategy number 2, which is collecting evidence.
Yes, and this is where we're going to tackle that issue of self-worth, low self-worth, so you don't think that you are good or you can do anything good. Start collecting evidence to the contrary. I don't care if you make a big old poster and you stick it on your wall. It has to be something tangible. I want tangible evidence. Paper, Post-it notes,
Notebook.
notebooks. You know, if you put a post-it note on the wall that says, today I did everything on my to-do list. I don't care if it's as small as, today I took a shower. Today I did not binge eat. Today I called a friend who I haven't talked to in a long time. Today I met a friend for coffee. Whatever are the good things that you are doing, write it down. Collect that information. Put it right in front of you so you can see the evidence building up that you can do good things. I talked to my mom today. She wasn't feeling well. I cheered her up. Everything that you do that is good, helping others, helping yourselves, make a pile. Just like you're collecting evidence for a court case. And then enlist your friends to help you with that too. And we'll talk some more about that down below. But, you know, let your safe people, let your support people know, hey, look, I'm having a hard time with this. Will you help me collect the good things that I'm doing in my life? And I guarantee you they will come up with so many. Now, you're not allowed to debunk them. Not allowed. You just have to accept them. So when someone says, you know what, Wendy, I watched you yesterday do that presentation at work. It wasn't credible. The only thing you get to say is thank you. You don't, well, you know, I mean, it's nothing. Anybody could have done it. Nope, can't say that. All you're doing is collecting it. You can't debunk it. No debunking allowed. We have to quiet that critic who speaks that way to us.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you'll hear Athena and I talking about this as building up your good pile. So,
yes, that's my favorite thing. Because honestly, and I was trying to share this with one of my clients actually, when you build up your good pile, and building up your good pile is actually one of the very critical steps, other than also being in community with other survivors that are actively engaged in recovery behavior, where they actually are desiring to move into reclaiming their life and advocacy as well. If you are involved in community and you're building up your good pile, those coping strategies that are so tricky and sticky and unhealthy will become less and less and less and less, because those are in your bad pile. Those are the things that you're doing that are not healthy. The things that you are doing that are healthy, like Bobby was saying, it doesn't matter how small the win is, even if it's, I got out of bed this morning. Let's say someone, you're a survivor and you're dealing with depression, or you're disassociating and you're getting lost while you're in town and you don't even realize it, or like whatever it is that you're struggling with. If today was a day that you struggled less with that, that goes over in your good pile. That goes into your collecting data. Build up that good pile, and your coping strategies that are negative and unhealthy will get less and less and less.
Yes, and it is so much easier. I'm going to stop sharing this because this is an important point that Athena made.
Talk with your hands, Bobby. Talk with your hands. Talk with your hands.
It is so hard to, you know, we look at ourselves and we see all these things that we should change. It is so hard to dig out those things that we see as wrong or that we have to get rid of. It is much easier, infinitely easier, and infinitely more healthy to instead build up your good behaviors. And pretty soon that good pile will be so high that the bad pile looks like, you know, half an inch compared to 7 feet tall. You don't have to get rid of all the bad. What you have to do is just start building up the good, and I promise it will not only drive out, but it will drastically diminish the stuff that you don't want in your life.
Yeah.
So I see people, you know, just tearing away at their lives and at themselves to try and get rid of the bad. But one of the things that you have to realize is that we have those things that are bad because they meet some kind of a need for us. But what we want to do is build up the good, meet the need still, but meet it in a good way. And then all of a sudden the need to have those bad things, the need for them to exist, it goes away. So the next strategy is to start to practice learning how to observe people objectively. And I always tell people that this is like putting on your anthropologist hat. Step out of yourself and your own judgment and learn to objectively view other people. Because as survivors, we tend to believe that we are deeply flawed while many other people in the world are perfect. And we allow that to cloud our vision, again, especially if you were abused between the ages of 4 and 8 consistently. You're looking at the whole world through that lens of I'm not good enough. So when you see someone who is quote unquote better than you, then you see them as perfect. They are perfect, you are flawed. That person is perfect, I'm flawed. That person is perfect, I'm flawed. But chances are, if you can switch out of that mindset and you can view it from a neutral, an objective standpoint with your anthropologist hat on, you can see that they do have flaws. And you need to recognize that you are seeing them put forward their best self. Because isn't that what we all try to do, especially when we're at work? We're trying to put forth our best self. And so we're comparing their best self to what is inside of us, which is what we see as our worst self. And it's got comparing apples to oranges. You can't do it. It's a flawed comparison.
I have an example, Bobby.
Okay.
Okay, so I forget, I think it might have been like, it was either Chris Ducker or like Seth Godin, or I forget who it was that first said this, but, or maybe it was the gal Sandberg. I can't remember now. Sheryl Sandberg.
Okay.
Comparing your beginning to someone else's middle.
Yeah.
Or comparing your insides to someone else's outsides.
Right.
And then I have to use my hands for this one. My personal favorite is we see others through binoculars or a telescope, and we see ourselves through a microscope.
That's a good one. I like that.
So
I like that.
We have, like my girlfriend Kathy and I don't even know if Kathy's watching right now. We have viewers, but I don't know if Kathy's watching, but Kathy and I talk about soft focus, like that beautiful, like Olin Mills photographs, like with the soft focus. It's like glamour shots.
Right, yes.
I don't have great vision when I'm out and about somewhere in public and I don't have my glasses on. I see everybody through. I see everyone through soft focus, glamour shot vision. And then if I put my glasses on and I look at myself, I'm like, oh gosh, is this how everybody sees me? And it's like, I don't think about it that way when I'm looking at everyone else. Only when I'm talking about me. So
yes, exactly. But you know, it's interesting because this is a double-edged sword. Survivors are very intelligent people, and they're very good at picking up double standards and double-edged swords. Because if I think, if I go, inside me are a bunch of lies, but that person looks good on the outside, and that must mean that, everyone has lies inside them. So we take what we see and we apply it to other people, and it just gets all messed up. So don't look at everyone, as Athena so aptly put, through a telescope, but look at yourself through a microscope. Try to learn to view people around you objectively. An excellent strategy.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Acknowledge your low self-worth and own it. When you own it, when you say it out loud, you can ask your support people to help you see the reality of your worth. Now, we already talked about asking them to help you build up your good pile. But you know what? It's always okay to say to someone, look, I gave this presentation the other day, and everyone said it was really good. Would you look at the video for me? I think it's terrible. Look at that place right there. Can you tell that I totally forgot what I was supposed to say, and I screwed it completely up?
Yeah.
I am willing to bet that person would say, I don't see that. I mean, yeah, you had a little bit of a pause there, but you picked right up and on you went. I don't begin to see that you completely fell apart right there.
You know, I need to back up for just a second, Bobby, and
Absolutely.
on that part where we're sharing with everyone that they need to acknowledge that this is what's going on. This is super duper duper important. A lot of people, and I'm just going to blanket statement, you know, you guys know after all these months that we've been together that I don't normally make blanket statements like this, but I'm going to make this blanket statement. People don't like to acknowledge their stuff. They just don't. They want to sweep it nice and neatly under that rug, pat, 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 so no one gets to see it. And I'm just here to tell you right now, the only way out of your stuff is through. Only way out is not around, not over, not under, through. So the only way out is through. And that means you have to acknowledge the fact that you're struggling with low self-esteem. If you're struggling with imposter syndrome, acknowledge it. Wow, I have been thinking less than about myself for the last hour and a half. Wait a second. 5 minutes ago when I went to rinse out my coffee cup, I was feeling like I was frumpy and gross and like I needed to go take a shower. Why do I have to talk about myself that way? Why can't I just go, you know what? I woke up like this. Like Beyonce, I woke up like this. This isn't the me that's going to be out there in the middle of the world. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to doll up, and I'm going to be amazing. I'm amazing. Just because I'm not amazing in this very one moment where I'm not feeling most fantastic, it doesn't mean that I'm not amazing. I'm going to deal with my stuff. I'm going to acknowledge that I'm dealing with imposter syndrome. I'm going to acknowledge that I'm having low self-esteem. And I'm going to enlist one of my safe people, and I'm going to talk with them about it and say, totally struggling with low self-esteem right now. And please, 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 peeps, don't enlist someone who is not a safe person. Don't go tell one of your super fancy friends that you think is safe, that you don't know very well, I'm really struggling with low self-esteem right now, because you don't want them telling the whole wide world, oh, so-and-so's dealing with low self-esteem. Yeah, Debbie's dealing with low self-esteem again today. Yeah, Sarah, she feels like she's looks ugly all the time. And then it's going to start this whole circle, and you don't want to re-injure yourself. Make sure it's a safe person. If you're going to go there with them, you're going to go there, go down, and go deep into, I'm dealing with these deep issues because of my childhood sexual abuse. Make sure it's a safe person.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why we advocate so hard for you joining one of our support communities. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more right now, because that is the most excellent place for you to find safe people and practice. Practice what you need to change. Practice what you want to change. And I just lost myself completely. Oh, look, there I am.
There you are.
Yay!
What does that look like, Bobby? What does practicing look like? Let's give them some examples. Why don't you practice on me really quick while we're showing them the one page? You can just practice.
Okay. Okay, I'll do this. Athena, in January I'm going to start doing a podcast. I've never done a podcast before. I think I might really screw it up. I don't know how to do anything about it, and I'm really worried that people are going to know that I have no value in this area, and I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up. Can you help me find the reality?
Yes, I can help you. Hey, Bobby, you know, from what I know about podcasting, which isn't much because I have a podcast, but, you know, it's a baby podcast and there's only, you know, 20 or 25 episodes, and I'm moving into that world. But I'm pretty sure podcasting is just talking, and you're one of the most amazing speakers I know. You talk so well, and you have so much knowledge to share with other people, and you have this gift of making people feel instantly comfortable and safe. And so I just want to encourage you that even though you're feeling like you may not be able to add value in the area of podcasting, I just want to encourage you to just jump off that cliff. Just go. I'll do it with you. I'll be there to cheer you on. And I bet you anything that as soon as you try it for the first time, you're going to get comments, and people are going to tell you, wow, I listened to what you had to say the other day and it made a difference in my life, and it's going to make it so much better, just like it is with the Twitter chat that you started with Rachel Thompson in January, and the Google Hangouts live. Like, we're live on the air right now, people watching us like all around the world make mistakes and stutter and stumble over our speech, and we did it. We were terrified, and here we are. We're totally doing it. So I just want to encourage you, because I think you're a great speaker, and I'm pretty sure that your podcast is going to rock.
And you know, the most important thing that I heard in what she said was that we used to be terrified of these Google Hangouts, because I didn't know this software. I wasn't sure how any of this worked. I didn't even have a webcam. And the fear that I have about podcasting is similar. I'm not afraid of being able to talk. I don't know the technology, and I'm afraid I'm going to end up sounding like Mickey Mouse or something, you know? So when you reminded me that we were afraid when we first started because we didn't know the technology, but we did it anyway, sometimes that is really powerful when you remind someone of a prior success that you can identify as somewhat similar. Remember that time when you were really afraid about A, but you did it? Now it's the same thing. You can be really afraid about B, but still do it. That's powerful. That's really powerful.
It is powerful. I'm so happy. I'm glad that I'm one of your safe people and that you can practice on me. And, you know, I have to share with you guys that Bobby's one of my safe people, and I share with her when I'm struggling with certain things. And I have arthritis in my right hand. I have a really hard time writing. And so the way that I usually will end up writing, like, stories, or if I'm publishing something, nonfiction or motivational or whatever it is that I'm deciding to publish that's of written form,
right?
I oftentimes will dictate, and then I will go back and I will just edit what it is that I dictated, because it's a lot less work for my hands, because I love to save my hands for when I get to design something, because I love designing work. I love, like, doing graphic design and web design. So I tend to be a little bit self-conscious when it comes to me publishing books or publishing resource guides or anything that's of written form that I know is going to have a Library of Congress ISBN, and it's going to be forever, you know, in the world, and, you know, my great-grandchildren are going to be able to pick up a book and read it. And it's like, I'm terrified to put myself out there in written form. I feel like it just never, ever, ever goes away. And it's hard for me to do. It's physically painful for me to do. So I tend to shy away from it. But Bobby, what do you always say to me whenever I, like, come to you and I'm worried about doing something like that? Like, you're always just so encouraging.
Yes. And that, you know, that goes two ways, and that's what's wonderful about being in a community of survivors, is that it's a two-way street. You know, there's a day when I might not be feeling my best that Athena encourages me, and then maybe there's a day that she's not feeling her best and I can encourage her. And at some point there's not a point pretty much that either of us can go that we can't identify with. You know, that I can't say, we've been someplace similar than that, gotcha, I get it, I understand. And that's why we advocate so hard for being a community of survivors. And it's why we advocate so hard for helping professionals who work with trauma survivors to be trauma survivors themselves. Because we truly believe.
At least trauma-informed, good Lord. Yeah.
Right.
The best helpers are survivors.
Yes. Yes, just like pretty much the model they use in the addictions world, which is that a lot of times that the counselors and the therapists in addictions have a history of addiction themselves, because they recognize the pure value in that, and we recognize the value in that as well. So we apply that here. I know that we're running out of time. I want to get up our contact information.
Absolutely. We ran a little bit behind schedule this afternoon, folks, because Bobby and I have literally met for like 12 hours over the past week planning.
Yes.
And you guys can send us messages and tweet us, and we're going to give you our contact information, but we want to let you know we are giving NoMoreShameProject.com a facelift. We have talked to our social media person, Jo, who's incredible, and we've shared with her, hey, we want some ideas. And we surveyed some of our survivor peeps today, and we asked them, hey, do you like a light-colored website? Do you like a dark-colored website? What about this? What about that? What kind of content do you want to see? What kind of a logo do you think we should even have a logo? What is this? How do you want it to feel? And the cool thing is they're responding, and we're getting all kinds of feedback. So if you guys have some feedback as to how our branding should look come January 1st when we go from season 1, NoMoreShameProject.com, and we actually launch Trauma Recovery University, and you have feedback for us, please don't be shy.
Absolutely. That's why we're here. Let me read this through, and I'm going to read it through. I know that if you're watching us on YouTube or you're watching the live broadcast right now, you can see this, but I want to read it out because there may be people who are on a podcast who can't see it. Yeah. So connect with us. I am Truth is Hers on Twitter. Athena is at Athena Moberg. And then we have a joint account, which is at NMS Project. And we haven't talked about whether or not we're going to change that one or rebrand that one. But right now, it's at NMS Project. And if we change it to anything, it'll still take you there. It'll redirect you.
Yeah. Yep. It would be the exact, even if you typed in at NMS Project, it would take you to us. It would,
right.
Even if we changed it, it would take you to us. So
yes. So have no fear. And then email is bobbylparish@gmail.com, Athena at athenamoberg.com, and No More Shame Project at Gmail. And then Facebook is the No More Shame Project. Again, I promise you that as soon as we have updated contact information, we will give it to you so that you don't feel like you're getting lost in the shuffle. Websites, the NoMoreShameProject.com, that will change to TraumaRecoveryUniversity.com. I have my website, BobbyParish.com, and Athena has AthenaMoberg.com.
Hey, Bobby, I have a shout out.
Okay.
Jack just tweeted. He said he's late, but he's so excited that he gets to watch the replay, and it's the best part that he gets to watch us on YouTube, and he doesn't have to show up live for the Google Plus Hangouts. And Jack, if you're watching right now, we want you to know we are moving to Monday nights, and we are going to have our one pages up on Mondays so that everyone at Twitter Chat on Tuesdays can have a one page, and they can always just watch any replays. So yep. End of December, beginning of January, we're moving to Monday nights, and we wanted to just let you guys know.
Yes, absolutely. And so we are so thankful that you're here. If you have questions, you want to help us, let us plug you into one of our Facebook groups, private and secret Facebook groups. You want to come to one of the Twitter chats. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. That's why we're here.
Yes. We are happy to invite you into our private secret Facebook groups, and we are more than happy to communicate with you personally. And we also want to plant the little seed for 2015. We have 2 live events, one at the beginning of June and one at the end of June.
On separate coasts.
On separate coasts, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast.
That's right.
And we are going to keep that theme going, and we're also wanting to let you know that we are launching TraumaRecoveryUniversity.com, and you'll always be able to find us at NoMoreShameProject.com. There's always going to be that downloadables tab, which if you're listening on a podcast or tuning in, just to thank you for being one of our loyal subscribers or survivors, that's just awesome. We have a complimentary downloadable resource for you. All you do is log on to our website and click the tab that says Downloadables, and you will be given immediate access to our library of incredible resources that are complimentary. And starting January 1st, we're going to have paid resources at TraumaRecoveryUniversity.com, and we're going to be publishing Volume 2 of the No More Shame Anthology, and submissions will be from January 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2015, and then we'll be making selections, and we'll still be publishing in the month of November in honor of, Bobby?
No More Shame November! Yay!
So not much is changing, except for we are giving our website a facelift, and we're launching Trauma Recovery University, which is a whole bunch of amazing online courses. And Jack is saying, oh, wow, you guys are going to be on Monday? That's so cool. I'm excited that people are excited with us. So I'm hoping this could easily take over our family home evenings. Smiley face. You guys are so awesome. We
Yes,
love you guys.
yes, yes, yes. And we will see you next week, or we'll see you at Twitter chat, or we'll see you on our email inbox or Facebook, Twitter. Reach out to us. That's why
Yeah.
we're here.
You are the reason why we do this, and we're so grateful for you. So until next time, have a wonderful week, and we look forward to you tweeting us or reaching out to us personally.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.